the rivalry game in the state of Kentucky. The Kentucky Wildcats, they're 6-5 on the year. They're going to Louisville to face the Cardinal. They're 10-1 on the season. They got a spot in the ACC title game. Right now, at time of record, Louisville is a 7-point favorite. Over-under is set at 50.5. Kentucky, 5 losses in the last 6 games after starting off the season 5-0. Louisville, outside that one bizarre loss to Pitt, at Pitt, has been cruising right along. They got a date with Florida State here, fresh. How do you see this one going? Because this is kind of shocking that it's only a 7-point spread.
Well, rivalry games are big, and I think there's a lot of Vegas must love Mark Stoops and what that Kentucky football team really is. The Commonwealth Cup has always been a battle. Both these teams, honestly, over history, even match goes back and forth, and it's been pretty solid. Seeing the teams go back and forth and switch momentum of the programs. Louisville's down there for a little bit, but now Coach Braum has the Cardinal back up, and the way Stoops, they were 5-0, but ever since they stepped foot in Athens, Georgia, back in early October, they're 1-5 since, and they've been getting smoked since that period started. In the last 6 games, they have been outscored 191 to 120. That's an average score of 31.9 to 20 points. Ray Davis has only gone over 100 yards once. I think so. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I only believe 100 yards surpassed one time in the past 6. Devin Leary has not been the passing savant that everyone saw him at NC State. They haven't got that offense going. Liam Cohen, a second time around in Kentucky, really that offense just not there. The receivers aren't gelling with them. They haven't got that flow. It looks a lot different than it did with Will Levis back in 2021. The offensive line not as dominant as it has been in the past few years. They build this whole big blue wall. They're not seeing that. They're not dominating the line of scrimmage. They're not running, getting the second level, and allowing the running game to take over. The defense has had some kinks in the armor, either transfer portal, guys not developing quick, losing a lot of talent in the past couple of years for the draft. They're seeing those effects this year. Is this a one-year blip on the radar for Mark Stoops in developing younger players, or is this a sort of a trend heading in the wrong direction for Kentucky football? You already see Missouri pick it up. You've seen Tennessee been better. They just lost to South Carolina. Obviously, Georgia's been dominating the East. They own Florida though right now, but they're sort of stuck in the mud right there in the SEC East, much less the SEC as a general. And that's why this game I think means more to them. Yeah, they're bowl eligible, but they've got to beat a ranked team. They've got to find a way to supplant themselves as still being competitive, or they are going to start being that middle of the tier. 8-win team, 9 wins, 10 is like a pipe dream going forward. This is a chance for them to make a statement and maybe save their season. You can't lose ground to Louisville. You can't lose ground in the conference. You've got to find a way to get this one versus I think a Louisville team that's been very good, but they do have some opportunities to be had. They've survived Virginia 2 weeks ago. They survived an average Miami team this past week. They obviously lost to Pitt. There were times they looked really good, and there's times where the defense, that offense, just kind of have a moment of lapse of memory, a lapse of focus, and it just slips away. Jack Plummer, I think, has been great, but he has turned the ball over quite a few times this season. They've got to find ways to reel that in, especially when they play this game and versus Florida State. They're going to have to be very mindful of controlling the football, controlling the clock, allowing your running game to actually do it as opposed to the passing game. Coach Braum, back-to-back years, 2 different programs in their conference title games, quite a statement. Doing it in 1 year. He's totally committed to Louisville. He's a Louisville grad. But what does he have special in this football game? He knows what this rivalry means. How does he get this team focused to come in here and take advantage and beat an SEC team? We hear it all the time, SEC bias and beating an SEC team, and it's a big statement. Obviously, you got SEC, ACC rivals in this game. You have Florida State, Clemson, South Carolina, Georgia Tech. These are the 4 that people keep an eye on when those 2 conferences are battling for supremacy. You have a chance of getting one of those big check marks, and not only keeping momentum for Louisville heading into the ACC title game, but beating Kentucky, showing kids in the state and in that region, that South Ohio, Kentucky, Northern Tennessee, that whole Middle America region, that you're a dominant program and you're resurging, and come play for us in the future. We're building something here. This is a chance right there to make that happen. I think they're going to have to give that ball and run the football a lot to be successful against Kentucky. Will them out, own line of scrimmage, be a tough football team. If you start having to throw the ball too much, you might let that pass rush Kentucky get home. So you have to find a way to balance it out. Use that running game. You have two solid running backs who've shown for Louisville they can be very sufficient so far this season. Lean on them a little bit. Let them help you out. Make the throws a little easier for Plummer. Worst case, though, you just got to get through this game healthy. Win, lose, or draw, you're still playing for the ACC championship the week after. I think that also has to sit in Plummer's mind. You know, sometimes it might just take a playoff or live to play another down. Make a smart decision. Don't have to have the pressure on me to make every single throw. And also for Coach Brom for Louisville, coach to win. You never coach to lose. Coach to win, but be mindful of your star players. Be mindful of some players who might be a little dinged up after a long year. ACC title and going to a New Year's Six bowl actually in this case means might be a little bit more than beating Kentucky. So how does he coach this football game? This is a big situation for Louisville. You have a chance of playing a Florida State team who, unfortunately, and this is the most gut-wrenching thing I saw was Jordan Travis. The dude's an absolute stud, but getting hurt. You have a Florida State team that lost their leader, and you have a chance. Injuries happen, unfortunately, a chance to win an ACC championship. If Travis was playing, I think you would have almost no chance at all. But with him not playing in that ball game, it opens up an opportunity, and you have a chance to maybe focus on thinking about the week ahead. What can I do? Can I protect some players? Can I game plan a little better? Maybe try to get out of this game quicker, rest my guys to prepare for Florida State because I have a chance of winning a conference title. My odds are a little more in my favor now. How does he coach this football game against a rival in Kentucky? And Stoops, you've had a real tough year. This could be a season saver. If you beat Louisville, beat a ranked team, you got to let it loose. You got to let Leary, you got to let Davis just go out there and cut it loose. Stop playing scared. Maybe even change your own mentality. You want to be an old, rugged, tough football team. Run the ball 4 yards in a cloud of dust. You've got to evolve. You have got to evolve in this current landscape of college football. You've got to be better. You've got to start being more of a statement to recruit better players in the slot at the receiver position. Open up the offense a little bit. Stop being so hesitant to get away from this power offense, pro style, two receivers. You need to spread it out, have a little more fun, open it up a little bit more, be a little more aggressive on offense because you're eventually going to be lost in the current landscape of college football where offense is going to be the benefit. It is in the NFL. It is in college football. You've got to focus on offense and get your defense to do just enough. The days of winning games 10-0, unless you're Iowa, are long gone. You've got to evolve, and it has to start with this football game right now, or you're going to start falling behind. In the end, I think Louisville has just too much momentum, too much toughness. This feels like a special football team. I think the Louisville Cardinals take over this football game. They dominate Kentucky, and they move on to get ready for Florida State next week.
Fresh. The thing when I was looking into this game, it was, especially with Kentucky and in the especially the last 4 games, Ray Davis hasn't cracked 90 total yards in the last 4 games. All 4 of those games, they've taken on the chin. He's got to be better. He's got to be the best player on the field in this football game here. If he's not, then Kentucky's going to have a long afternoon. He's not getting the help that we thought that he might get with Devin Leary. Devin Leary going to Kentucky, we thought, coming off that ACL injury last year, that this was going to be a nice situation for him. And sometimes you look at things and go, yeah, he's got 20 touchdowns on the years, but he's completing only 56% of his passes. That's an issue. That means that he's kind of killing drives himself because he's been inaccurate. And on the other side, you think that you could kind of lean on Ray Davis to kind of lead the way for you, but he's kind of disappeared as well. Louisville's got one of the best defenses out of the ACC. I know that it's interesting to kind of look at that because everyone's going to be talking about what they're doing on the offensive side of the football, but is where that they kind of make their name for themselves is on the defensive side of the football. I think at the end of it, it's going to come down to who's going to be the best player on the field, which side's going to have that guy, whether it's on the offensive or defensive side. I know that we've talked a little bit about Jack Plummer. He's had a real nice season on the year, but he does turn the ball over. He does take some sacks. Kentucky is going to have to win the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to get after him. Jordan, the running back's another name to watch. He's already crossed the 1,000-yard mark, and he's done it very efficiently on the year. Averaging 6.7 yards a carry, he's crossed the 1,000-yard marker on only 150 carries on the year. Kid's got 11 touchdowns. if he's doing what we should be expecting Ray Davis to do in this football game, then it's over. The Louisville is going to wind up winning. They're going to wind up winning big in this football game. I think this game is going to be closer than a lot of people think. I think that Louisville is coming off an emotional win over Miami last week to clinch the ACC title game, and especially with Jordan Travis's injury at Florida State. How can't Louisville be looking ahead? I mean, I know that this is a rivalry game, but doesn't change the outcome of your season. You're still going to have a chance for your conference title game. Still going to have a chance for New Year's Day 6. I know that there's some predictors out there that says Louisville has like this weird outside chance to making the college football playoff. I think we'd have to have a lot of shenanigans and crazy go down for that to happen. But, I guess never say never because they are within striking distance. But yeah, I got Louisville winning this football game. I think it's going to come down fourth quarter. Louisville gets a late touchdown. They'll because it's 7 even. I'd say they cover the 7 on the nose. But yeah, this is going to be a close one.
I mean, it's going to be a fun one. This is exactly what you want to see from a rivalry game. A team that's had a rough year, kind of holding on, the quote unquote flagship university versus Louisville, who's having an amazing season, but really you could get them and you could actually record wise ruin them, maybe keep them looking ahead. This is a lot of intrigue coming into this one and a lot of bragging rights going forward for the fan base that wins.
Right, absolutely.